Hey y'all, it's me again. I know y'all tired of me by now, but perhaps you aren't. And if you aren't, let me drop this in your spirit. You have the power to be the Goliath in your life. You also have the power to be David. You can choose to be the monster, or you can choose to be the anointed one. Balance those things out. We have the power. The philosopher Terence says, I am human. Therefore, nothing human can be alien to me. Which means that we all are just alike in so many ways. We're all one bad choice away. Lord, have I made some bad choices? And I know I'm not the only person. But this moment is about my own bad choices. And I had to realize that in order to, I don't want to say atone, or because I don't believe that anything is out of the will of God. I believe that it's all within a plan. We have choices. He gives us the freedom of will, and whether we make the right choice now and we're the hero immediately, or we make a bad choice and then we got to go clean that up in years or in 10 minutes or whatever the case may be. It's all design. It's all making us perfect. And I have made some very bad choices in my life, but I thank God for grace. I thank God for grace that people had on me, the grace that God had on me. And I thank God that I have a heart, and it kind of instilled in me to have grace for other people, right? And sometimes in having grace for other folks, we kind of lose ourselves a little bit, looking out for everyone else. But I believe that God is raising a different kind of giant right now. The underdog. The people nobody assumed would be the giant. The giants you saw are gonna fall. They are falling like a mug. Oh, baby. We're watching it, right? We have all these things that are going on in pop culture, but even in the spiritual realm, there are giants that are passing. And I don't necessarily mean dying, but they are losing the anointing. They're losing sight. They're losing their gifts that God has given them. And I don't believe that that is just happenstance. I think that there is a new generation, a new level of understanding that God is opening us up to. And I also believe that some of that is cleaning, sweeping the way so that the next generation of giants can rise up. Here's the difference. I don't think God is looking for the giants that have just been pleasantly sitting in their seats for years doing nothing. I don't think that's what he's looking for. And I'm not God, right? So take this with a grain of salt. But in a dream, God showed me some things. And there is a kind of like a change of guards happening right now. The ones that were so anointed and dripping in oil are going to fade away. And I don't believe that that is any one person's job to do. I'm not saying that there's a sniper coming or anything like that. Hear me clear. I just believe that the cycle we're in right now is a time for people that have just been sitting, i.e. me, I take responsibility, sitting on the sidelines like, I'm not getting in that game. Nope. If I got to do it this way, I'm not doing it. I'll just keep praying in my room. I'll just keep my own connection with God. I'll just fast on my own terms. But if I have to do that, I refuse. I think he's looking for people that have been in jail, that are released and have a new heart and a new mind. I think he's looking for the radical youth who are fed up with the ways in which we have watched church, and not just church, but society, go left. I think he is raising up I kind of believe we're returning back to some of what was before. So, during the times of some of the greatest preachers and teachers, I believe that there are going to be a really large amount of underdogs coming and taking their rightful place. And whatever that means, right? Like some people are spiritualists, right? I consider myself a spiritualist, a Christian spiritualist, and I say it with Sasson on it, or Louisiana hot sauce, whichever one you want to put. But I believe in the many wonders of the world. My faith is too big not to. I believe that there are signs and wonders outside of the church. I believe that there is more deliverance happening on the street, on the internet, on the radio, than people are actually getting in the places by which they would have normally gotten them. Okay, whatever that looks like, whatever that feels like. I've always felt like my gift would make room for me. It always has made room for me. If you are someone that has known me, you know I've been saying, I see this happening for you all my life. I see this, or you should do this. I've always been the one that people would come to for help or questions, advice. I've always been willing to put myself out there. Now, I could be a fool. Yes, I could be a fool by airing my own laundry, or talking about my pain, or talking about my healing. But what I know without a shadow of a doubt, God is right there with me. Ooh. Every word I say, every step I take, I told the Lord that I would do it if he showed me how. It couldn't be like anybody else's. I can't do what everybody else is doing. That ain't me. That's not me. This is me. This is me. I am the same loving child that I was. I'm the same loving wife, the same loving mother, the same loving friend that you guys have known. But my mission is different now. And that is because I accepted the call. I accepted the call. And I can't go back now. I also realized that when you're doing a mighty job or a job that seems a little odd to people, it can be very, very, it can be scary for some. It definitely is scary for me, right? Because I'm no angel. I never said I was, right? I have been known to have a side to, honey, you say something to me and I will get you all the way together. Period, point blank. In some kind of way, that's not who I started as, right? I think I developed into that after fighting so much, fighting so many wars, spiritually, emotionally, physically going through it. I got that way. I built a shell. I built a security system to take care of myself because I didn't feel like I was being taken care of, right? And what I realize now is of course, God has always been there. But for me, the closer and closer I drew to the mystic part of my belief, the more and more it brought me closer to the Christ part of my belief. The more and more I wondered about manifestation. And some of you know my journey with manifestation and how I took a whole year and I had a whole list of things I was manifesting. It changed the things I did. It changed the way I look. It changed how my nails looked. It changed my hair. It changed everything because I was so serious. I was dedicated that I had some things that I needed God to do fast. Very intentional with that, right? And so there were many times where I was told it's probably not going to happen. Just move on. But I didn't care. I kept praying and I kept manifesting. And the more I was manifesting, the more God was showing me, think bigger. And I thought, well, dog, I'm already being told that the stuff I'm thinking is crazy. Like, how much bigger you want me to think? Do you really want these people to think I'm Delulu? But then I got to thinking, well, they already think I'm Delulu. So I might as well just continue doing what I'm doing, right? And boy, the freedom I found when it just simply got to, you know what, Lord, this is me and you. I'm going to do this. If you show me how to do it, I'll do it. Now, I am not I think I've said this before, don't come over here looking for a whole bunch of laying on of hands. I am not a minister. I am not an evangelist. I am a regular old person. Just like y'all. I'm a regular person that's been through some rough stuff. I'm a regular person that's fought, both physically, literally. I have cussed people out. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. And I am very rigid when it comes to my boundaries. And I had to get that way because of all the levels of trauma and deceit and betrayal and upset that I had experienced. I just built this shell where I'm like, okay, you're not coming past these boundaries. I love you, no matter who you are. But you ain't coming past these boundaries. And if you think I'm lying, you can ask ask the people I live with. I am serious about protecting myself, and I have been that way, I believe many of us have, because it is the thing that we've had to do to take care of ourselves. But I think we're moving into a space where we can start to lean on God a little more. Right? That's what I'm trying to do. That's literally what I'm trying to do. Completely sell out and lean and depend on the Almighty. For me, the Almighty is a conglomerate. It is a master partnership between Jesus the Christ, my ancestors, my spirit guides, God, and my own ability. I believe that my gifts come from God. I believe that my intuition came here when I was born. We were all born with the intuition, right? I believe that my academic achievements have helped me to formulate and understand other ways in which to use my gifts, other ways in which I was gifted and didn't realize it. As a creative child, I thought that would be the way for me. And that is not how I have made my life so far in this world. That's not how I've made my way, I should say, in this world. But the beautiful thing about God is, honey, He will layer things on top of you, gifts that you don't even see, gifts you don't know you have, gifts that people are hiding from you, gifts that people tell you you don't have, right? People will say, oh, you're crazy. Oh, she's bananas or whatever, right? And then you start to believe that, okay, maybe I'm a little crazy. Maybe I'm a little delulu, right? I believe that it happens that way. And then one day, it's almost like someone came and took a veil off of my head, and I could see things so much more clearly. Now, perhaps that comes with age and wisdom. I think for me, it also came with drawing closer to God and drawing closer to the things that I know and the things that I didn't know. Lord, I don't know how this is possible. I have no clue what I'm going to do in this situation, but I'll trust you. I don't know what this is going to look like in 6 months, but I'll trust you, right? And as a recovering control freak, that was very difficult for me. Not having a plan, not having a process. Professionally, I'm very process oriented. It's just the way my brain works. Academically, I develop processes and strategy in order to help me retain knowledge. Spiritually, I have always been tapped in. always. And I see things and would see things that no one thought I'd see. Right? And this message is to appeal to you all. It's time for us to get back on the job, y'all. All of the people like me who grew up in church and that know the secrets of the church and that have been a part of the worship of the church or fallen prey to the gossip of the church, all of y'all, all of us, it's time that we get back on the job and do it the way God is telling you to do it. Don't try to conform to fit someone else's mold, because that's not what the world is looking for right now. Let me tell you something. If you think if a bishop's robe is your goal, you're being very specific about who you're going to speak to, right? He is calling for us to take the limits off of our minds, take the limits off of our hearts in order to do what it is that he is instructing us to do. It's going to hurt. It ain't going to feel good every day. Some days you're going to have peace and joy like a river. Some days you're going to want to use a piece. Y'all want me to be honest about it, right? But I do appreciate how I have in my own life watched myself take the pain and the things that I would normally do, even just a few months ago, I can't do anymore. Those things they really don't even interest me. You know, there are certain people from your past that like you either outgrow them or you just become disinterested or I don't know. But for me, it was a matter of like pulling my energy back and being focused on me and focused on what I believe God was telling me. Really, me focusing on seeking God. For me, that started a while ago, but I started to see some things that would trigger me, and the way in which I responded, I was noticing like, okay, this is a little better. You ain't fully nut up this time. Okay. That was a little better. Where I would have normally got a little loud, got a little heated. Because one thing it is it's one thing to be passive. It's another thing to allow people to disrespect you and to walk all over you. And when you're someone that has been disrespected a lot and walked all over and told what you are not, you just come out swinging, baby. It's on and popping. And then I noticed that I wasn't even interested in the fight anymore. It's like, child, I'll let y'all have this. Go ahead. But one thing that I have most certainly implemented and will continue to implement and continue to grow in is my peace and my space and my safety, and ensuring that I am in places where I am welcomed. I am in places where I am loved. Once I feel the spirit is off, once I feel there's some sort of iniquity, or I just don't want nothing to do with it. And that's pretty much my personality in general. But now I'm much quicker to remove myself. I'm saying all this to say, for all of us folks that think that just because you might cuss somebody out, that God don't love you, that's a lie. Don't believe that. Do not believe that. Okay? He is still able to use you. You are still, if you are called, you are called, honey. Ain't a devil in hell, ain't a minister on the pulpit that can tell you otherwise. If you are called, you are called. Come on in, do your part, do it in the way in which you're supposed to do it. Not everybody's supposed to look like each other. In fact, I think the scripture tells us that we should be set apart, right? It talks about entertaining strangers unaware. And you might be entertaining an angel unaware. Lord. Unaware. And I believe that there are a lot of angels walking out here that people are just, for years, have been playing games with. And those angels get up and they leave a church and they say, nah, I'm not doing this. I don't want to do it like this. I refuse. And then those angels go out into the city, or they go out into the grocery store or into their workplace, and they change lives right where they are. Or they become teachers and they change lives right where they are. So what does that tell you? It looks like God is calling us out of the church and really into the hedges and highways. And through technology, we now have the ability to be wherever, right? You can connect with people all over the world in just a second. So this is an appeal to my people, the underdogs. Let's get active. Let's get active. None of us, let me say it this way. I have no intentions of taking anyone's place, or even as I use my father's messages, this is not to finish his sermon. It is to say, these are the ways in which God is revealing the sermon to me today. These are the scriptures that God is leading me to today. Because there is a different generation, there is a different sect of people, subsect of people that have got to hear the word differently from the way my daddy preached it 25 years ago, 30 years ago. There's a way for you to use your gift right where you are, way different than you did when you were back in church 30 years ago. I'm not saying, the church has this thing about the backslider, but what is a backslider, really? Because we have people right in the church that are practicing witchcraft, that are putting negativity out. That's witchcraft. Wishing bad on other churches, wishing bad on other pastors, wishing bad on people who have, for whatever reason, just have a different opinion. We shun gay people, which still doesn't make sense to me, because the Lord said love. If we just stick to loving, I promise you, God is going to do the rest. He going to do the rest. You don't got to do nothing but love them. But you can't condemn them and then use them, right? That's the problem, is the church is condemning people for who they are, but then they still want the fruit. They want the labor of those people. That ain't it. That ain't the move. That's not the move. We got to stop that. Like, for real, for real. Because really and truly, if you think that's the way, ain't nobody, you're not going to, listen, your ministry is not going to grow if that is where your heart is. And I don't care what you're preaching. I don't care what denomination you are. Your ministry is not going to grow if you are condemning people before they even get to the door. And then they come into the hospital to get healed for whatever issue, whatever the reason may be. And then you're already talking crazy. Their skirt's not long enough, or their toenails are painted, or they're wearing something from the club. Yo, we got to just love people, for real. Just let people be who they are. Love them where they are, and God is going to do the rest. But this has got to be about us, y'all. It is time for us to move some of these people off the pulpit. I'm here to tell you the ways in which I have seen people lead people astray. It ain't cool. It's not. It's not. It's not about tithing and offering. It's not about, and I know this is going to really irritate some folks. It's not about buying your pastor a new jet. It ain't about Men's Day. It ain't about Choir Day. It's not about that. At the bottom, at the foundation of this, it is about love. Just love people where they are. That's it. If we can learn to love them, and we bring them and we entreat them in love, we wrap them up in love, He is literally waiting to do the rest. Your angels, your spirit guides, your ancestors are all rooting for the best for you. The whole group. Your grandmother, your granny that prayed for you, your uncle that prayed for you, they want what's best for you. Their spirits are just one layer removed from where we are. How foolish of us to believe that they can't hear us, they can't see us. We are just a layer, just a layer. If God hears us and they are with God, then perhaps we're interacting with them as well. I'm not here to tell you that ghosts are walking around. That's not what I'm trying to say, although, whatever. I'm here to tell you, y'all, there's more to it than what we've been doing and what we've been seeing. And we don't like the church we've been seeing, so it's time for us to change it. However that looks for you. Whether you are the person at your job who just simply has prayer with people, or just has kind words to say to people. That's what God's looking for. Listen, you can't tell me that Musician Appreciation Day is something like, what is the glory here? What are we doing here? How are we helping the people? How are we helping the sick? How are we helping our communities in that way? Yeah, it's music, but people can get music on the internet. Like, come on, let's think. Let's get deeper. How are we really doing the work? There has to be a way. We got to educate people, right? When people are informed, you can change your entire life. If you know something, spread the knowledge, spread the word, whatever it is. That's what the calling is right now. That's what God is asking of us right now. We got to get back to like the basic level stuff. Just basic. Just love people. Just be kind. Feed the poor. If you can't figure out ways to do that in a safe manner by yourself, there are organizations out here that really do feed. How do I know that? Because I've done my part. I try to do my part. And that is not for glory. That is not for anything but to say, God, I thank you for everything you've given me. My life has been tremendously blessed. My life has been tremendously blessed. I have done things people will never get an opportunity to do. I have had favor on my life that people will pray for and never receive. And I'm so grateful. And by being grateful, it has taught me to spread what you know. Each one teach one. When I get something with, that's wealth. Knowledge is wealth. Peace is wealth. Understanding is wealth. That's abundance. That's something you can pass along to other people, and other people can be blessed by it. Y'all, we got to start helping people get their blessing. We got to start educating people on just navigating the world. The world has changed. So guess what that means? We got to get educated on the world being different. Go back to school. Go back to school. Yo, I was talking to somebody, and I ain't gonna put their business out, even though I'm super proud of them. And they were telling me like, yo, I'm taking these courses online. Shocked the ever living stew out of me, because I don't know, it was just like I just didn't see that person doing it, but I was so happy. It don't matter what you learning. You could legit be learning, if it's VCR, if it's CD and VCR repair. I don't think that's going to be as helpful right now. But perhaps you can learn something else. Like, we got to teach people how to think differently, so that we walk in our abundance every single day. And walking in abundance is being grateful for what we have, sharing what we have, sharing that wealth. Many of us have gone to college and we're paying those student loans, and we are loyal to our jobs, and we will give them all of our knowledge all day long, even when they especially don't pay us the wages in which we should be paid. How about we take that knowledge and we figure out other ways in which we can bless people, other ways in which we can educate people, other ways in which we can enhance what God is calling us to do for right now. Times are different. This is not a sit in the sanctuary generation. It's not. That's why so many people are losing their churches, or people are struggling so hard to keep the 5 members they got. No shade, but it's real. You got to do something different. People are sick and tired of the dog and pony show. They really are. Not every church is meant to be a concert, right? I think it just seems like that there has been just this over time, this everybody moves to the same beat. Everybody is in the symphony. The orchestra is going and people are walking and just being sheeple. Y'all, it's time to mix it up. It is. And I don't even know. I don't got all the answers. This is just what God is telling me. I'm the voice. Okay? The beautiful thing about being a voice is when you have a voice, you can use it in multiple ways, right? A lot of people that have known me as a child have known me as a singer. Only until recently have many people who know me as an adult even heard me sing. And that's not really sing, And that's not because I have denounced my gift. It is because I realized that God didn't give me just one gift. He also didn't just give me that voice to just sing. I have a voice, and I have always been a person to speak up for people. Has that caused me issues in my life? Yes. Have I lost jobs in my life for being the person to speak up? Mm-hmm. Has that put me in situations where people are unhappy with me because I see disrespect happening or there's some issues happening and I'm like, yo, you got to go somewhere with that. This place needs to be peaceful. You need to respect these people's home. Absolutely. Absolutely. It has. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because my heart is right. My heart is in the right place. Now, has that caused some confusion and some cuss words to fly? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm not going to deny it. I'm not even going to promise you that you won't hear another cuss word. I'm not going to promise that. Now, I'm not. Because I am human. Therefore, anything human cannot be alien to me. You see how that works? Like, it's not like the pastors that cuss at home, but they try not to cuss at church. It's not like that. That's not what this is. Okay? It's not like the people that talk about people drinking, but then they are so drunk when they go to church. It's not that. Or there's a flask in their purse at church. It's not that either. Okay? I'm going to give you what it is that I am. And out of my heart is where these messages are coming from. My heart and God. Like, I am just being used to say. And the reason I believe is because there are way too many people that have walked astray, been led astray, or just sitting on whatever it is that they know that they can do because someone has said something shady. Someone has done something shady and it has been attached to divinity. And that way it has caused them to shy away from the church. Okay, I'm not telling you to go get back in the church. Hear me what I'm saying. I'm saying God is calling us. He's calling us. We got to answer the call because what's been done is not the way. It's clearly not the way because things are off track. He's calling us. So how and which can we be of service to the call? How do we answer the call? What does that look like? What does that sound like? What does that feel like? Right? And it may not look like what I'm doing. It may not look like what your pastor is doing. It may not look like anything you've ever seen. It legit could be something you stand on the corner and if you're talking to women of the night and that is what God leads you to do, more power to you. But it's imperative that we get back into our place, back into alignment. That's what the message is. That's what this is. It's not about telling you to go join your local church. I wouldn't dare. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not telling you to do that. Because I don't even think that that's where our gifts are best used. I don't think that, and the academic in me is like it just law of averages and the mass appeal. Like, are people still going into church with COVID and with shootings that are happening? I'm not saying don't go to the church. If you find a church you like, go. But I'm saying that not everybody's ministry is in the church. And we got to be real about that. We got to be real about that. More importantly, for those of us who know that God has told us something. For those of us who have been avoiding doing the work. Because I don't want to fight. I don't want to be in a situation with some stuff go left. It is not in my heart to hurt people. That's not me. That ain't me at all. So I have been so reluctant to speak to the wind as my daddy told me to. I've been so reluctant because, ooh, what does that look like? I am not wrapped up like everybody else, honey. You might get a little cleavage. You might get there might be other music. You might hear Tony. I am not the normal person you see sitting on a pulpit every Sunday. That's just not who I am. But what I am is sincere. So, church kids, I'm calling you back. This call is for you. You got to pick up. Pick up. They need us. And by they, I mean the world. They need us for real. They need our love. Some of the most kindest and the most loving people have been driven away from church because of something they saw. Okay, let's not do it like they did it. Let's do it different, right? This is an appeal to you. Come on. Follow me. In what capacity you want to do that, right? If you see something I'm doing and I can be of service to you, let's work together. If there's something you're doing, vice versa, whatever the case may be, but it's time. The church kids are in charge now. Let's go. Let's go.